I'm a small town kid born with a big city spirit. I choose to play a lot of awesome roles in life: mom, wife, entrepreneur, CEO, board member, investor, and mentor. 17 years ago, I founded a marketing consultancy, and ever since, my husband JR and I have been building our careers and our family on the exact same timeline. Yep, that means 4 kids, 3 businesses, 2 careers, all building towards one life we love. When I discovered I could purposefully embrace all of these ands in my life, it unlocked my world. And I want that for you too. I'm Tiffany Souter, and this is Scared Confident. Okay, you guys, this morning, my oldest one had to be at swim practice at 6 a.m., so leaving the house at 5:35 because she hates to be late. And no, I didn't take her this time. My husband did, but I went to the gym, and so it was, like, hilarious. People were, like, moving through the house at 5:30 in the morning. It's usually alone time. So we did that. Everybody's back to school, and our nanny started today. We're back to the nanny plan, and I think it's gonna be great. Her name is Lexi, and Samantha, Sam, who's a showrunner on the show and, like, kinda like, I don't know, chief of staff of my life, basically. We're sharing a nanny. And I think it's going to be great. So we'll kind of share that journey with you a little bit if that's helpful, the process we went through, the questions I asked, where we found her. I think we're going to do like a little mini series on what I've learned in almost, it'll be like 15 years of nannies in our house. So a very long time. So that's what's going on in my world right now. Kids back to school, swim practice. Yeah, all that stuff. I had lunch today with someone, and he is married, is a father, and he has 2 young kids. And one of the like words of wisdom from the old 43-year-old came out, and I thought I'd share that with you guys too. They have a baby, and he was talking about how as soon as the baby sleeps through the night, like they'll get out of the rat race. As soon as, XYZ, you'll get out of the rat race. And it kinda sounded like time out. What I have found, I mean, we've had kids for 14 years. I've been married for, it'll be this year was 18, like almost 19 years, almost 20 years, so crazy. You think the next stage is gonna be the stage where you have time for things, and it's not true. It's like a grand lie, a grand illusion in life that you think like, "Oh, I don't totally understand the complexity of the next stage of my life, and so I'm oversimplifying it in my head." And I don't understand there's just gonna be new things to solve. And so we think, "Oh, I don't really have to deal with what's in front of me right now because in the next stage of life, this will work itself out." So it's true. When you have really little kids and they're not sleeping through the night, that works itself out. They eventually sleep through the night. But there are other things, new complexities that come with that next stage. And so this is my encouragement to you to say, "No, we can't accept that this stage we're gonna sacrifice. It's gonna be so crazy, it's gonna be so overcommitted, we're gonna have bad communication, we're gonna be overwhelmed," which is like my kryptonite word. When I am in a place where I'm saying, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed," that I know I am like flat out reacting to my life in every orifice of it. It's not a good existence. It's like not a real existence to me to be reacting to everything in my life. I want to have control. And so don't give in to this lie, this illusion that the next phase is going to be the one where life is neat and tidy and you'll finally get to your priorities. I think the great, I don't know, challenge in life, excitement in life, like puzzle of life is figuring out how right now in your stage do you wholeheartedly accept the things that are hard and a little bit crazy, like for us right now. I mean, literally, we're scheduled to the max. How do I delight in it? How do I make it fun? Like, how do I solve well for where we are right now instead of being drugged like a rag doll through my life? I don't want to be like that. So I was kind of like scoldy. I can get like that, like wagging my finger at him, essentially, like figuratively speaking. No, don't feed into the lie that the next stage of life is going to be the one where you have the time, have the resources, whatever. Like, how do you solve for what you want now? Okay, that was number 1. I'll give you a little bit of an overview of what's going on in our house. I mean, like, obviously, we've been in transition because the kids have been going back to school. Fall, my husband starts to travel more, which just means I'm single parenting a little bit more, which just is like I don't know, like different muscle, different pace. And then everybody all the kids are sleeping in a different bed. So we moved rooms, like everybody's in a different space. And then also our basement guest room flooded. And so we had to get, which sounds extreme. There was like, not even an inch of standing water. Flooded is so extreme. Had too much water in it, moisture in it. We had to get new carpet. Which it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, if we're going to replace the carpet in the room, then we should redo the bathroom, so the flooring so that it matches. And if we're going to go ahead and take out the vanities, I don't really like them. We should probably just fit new ones in. So anyway, as it goes, as it goes. So we've been in like space chaos. Like nothing has a home. The guest room bed was in the playroom. The girls' stuff was all in different closets. Just because you were sleeping in that room doesn't mean that's where your underwear were at. Like, can you kind of see it? Like, it's crazy. Stuff was everywhere. Putting away laundry was like a jigsaw puzzle. And so this weekend, I kind of like lost my face on the family. I was like, look, everybody, I cannot continue to exist in this chaotic space. We were in full on like summer mode in July. We were in back to school prep in August, getting everybody into their sports, making sure everybody has the perfect pair of Nike tennis shoes, all of the things that come with, all the things. And now we need to get our house back because I can't do this. And there were a couple of things like tips or hacks that like came to the forefront for me that I thought I would share with you that have been really helpful and I would say served our family pretty well, in spite of the fact that I was a little bit of a like savage monster this weekend, ordering everybody around, getting everything cleaned up. One of them is the one empty shelf, one empty drawer, one empty container rule. So what I mean by this is like when we're cleaning out, let's say the girls' playroom, I want there to be one empty drawer, one empty shelf. And the reason is there is no way that we have the exact perfect number of belongings to be held by the furniture that we have. And accidentally, you can measure your belongings by the amount of space that you have instead of measuring your belongings by the number of things you actually need or want or play with, etc. So, but just because we have room for 20 dress up dresses doesn't necessarily mean that we need 20 dress up dresses. Like, let's pick the ones that the 8 that we use the most often. I'm using this as like a really rudimentary example. But that way, if there's an extra drawer, extra shelf, extra container, there's going to be, 4 birthdays for everybody going through the year. There's going to be Valentine's Day. There's going to be Easter baskets. There's going to be Christmas gifts. Like, there's always more stuff coming into the house, no matter how much I try to contain it. And so when we clean out a project, or we cleaned out our garage this weekend too, if everything starts full, like every drawer is full, every shelf has something on it, then instantly, as soon as you get more things, it like the overflow process starts. And so it was like a real point of awareness for me to realize like, we can't just have all of our surfaces clean. Like, we have to have space inside of our drawers. And I realize this is like such a consumer. I don't know. I feel like a little self-conscious being like, we have so much stuff, but you get my point. Like, if you're going to have order in your space, there's got to be space for more things to come in because it's going to. You just know it's going to in this like world that we all live in. So, or that we live in at least. I have the giftiest mother-in-law. I have the giftiest mom. It's the most amazing thing that my kids are celebrated like this. But we have to have a place to put it. So that is one kind of cleanup hack. One empty shelf, one empty drawer, one empty container. Make sure when you're going through stuff, kind of, I don't know, fall cleaning, sprucing things up, getting everybody's clothes out of their closets that don't fit them anymore. Make sure there's space for those new belongings to come in. The other thing I was not very fun this weekend. I'll like own that. But sometimes I am fun, and sometimes I am able to make cleanup fun. This weekend is not one of them. But when I am, you think about in our family, there's 6 people. Quincy doesn't count when it comes to cleanup. So there's 5 of us. If all of us work for an hour together, that's like 5 hours of like pick up, clean up, etc. Like, play some loud music, have some popcorn at the end of it. Like, define an amount of time, exactly when it's going to happen. Everybody does it at the same time. And like, make it fun. In those family cleanups, we get our house like ship shape. Again, when I'm not in a savage mode, it actually is, it can be fun. And at the end, have like a fun reward. Play a game of Uno together, or go outside and, shoot baskets. Or my girls love it when we're just outside with them, blowing bubbles and playing volleyball with the older ones and just like hanging out. kind of reward everyone. That has been a way for me to not feel like, oh my word, this is all on my shoulders to keep things shipshape. And if you like live by yourself, make it fun for yourself. Give yourself a very finite period of time. For 30 minutes, I'm going to do as fast as I can. And at the end, I'm going to like paint my fingernails or something. So those like contained, compressed family cleanups are a great way for us to get a lot of progress when we need to be very efficient as a household because we're going a lot of directions. The kids are in school all day long. In the evenings, we're usually at like games and practices and all that kind of stuff. And that is a really helpful tool. The other thing I started doing, I think is very smart. I will try to put together an Instagram reel on this. Candidly, I'm like, I feel like super medium at those and it takes me a long time and then I get grumpy. So I'll try to do that, put it together an Instagram reel on what this looks like. But my younger kids are often at games with us for the older, like swim meets and volleyball games. And so I need something for them to do other than play on my phone. I'm not too good to let them play on my phone. That happens sometimes, but we don't always, I don't want to do that the whole time. So when they're not watching, which sometimes they don't want to, and when they're not just like playing under the greasy bleachers with friends, I have an activity bag that I take to games and practices and that's in the car when we're driving around. But those activity bags get like really old really fast. You know, they're like, I've already seen this toy, I've already seen this thing, I've already read this book. And so I have 3 bins in our laundry room that are filled with stuff that they don't have access to otherwise. So one bin is like coloring books and craft, like little craft packages, markers, crayons that aren't broken. A thing of Crayola crayons is like literally still $1.39. Like it's incredible. So one bin is crafty stuff, coloring, stickers, that kind of stuff. One bin is like little figurines. Like Quincy's super into Coco Melon right now. So I have this like little Ziploc bag of like the 6 Coco Melon figurines, little princesses, little Lego sets, little magnet things, like little things like that that like would be great for a church bag or a toy bag, little puzzles. One box is that. And then the third box is books. Things again that's like not on their bookshelf all the time. And so at the beginning of the week, I literally just swap stuff out. I go to those 3 bins, I pull out, you know, maybe half of the bag from the week before. Maybe there was one thing they were like super jamming on, and I'll leave that in. And I replace a new coloring book. I put some new stickers in there. I might switch out the markers for crayons or some cool glitter pens or something like that. And then down the line. And then also, obviously, like put snacks and water bottles in there. Like I stock those bins with literally gifts that we get, like things that come home from birthday parties, like little favors, like Play-Doh, that kind of stuff. When they have their birthday, I'll like literally just like stash a couple of things back and put them in those bins because they kind of forget what they got. It all came at the same time. That's a great way. Easter basket gifts, Valentine's Day gifts, or just like walking through the clearance sticker aisle like at Target, I'll like pick up stuff. So it's not like a expensive thing to maintain at all, but that has been a lifesaver where the girls hardly even understand what's happening, but it keeps the bag fresh. It keeps me from scrambling. It keeps me from having just like literally a bag of used Kleenexes and like old stickers that like the play bags casually devolves to if I don't stay up with it. And it works really well. So if you're trying to figure out how to keep little ones, or if you've got a lot of travel in between practices and stuff, this activity bag hack has been really helpful. And I feel like it's like kind of a system where Sunday night I unload the one from the week before. It takes like literally less than probably 6 minutes. Like it's really fast at this point. And it's been a really great way to like use the stuff that we have, keep it fresh, keep the kids engaged and off my phone most of the time, some of the time. So yes. September 1st is like literally tomorrow. And fall for me is always a season of planning. And I'm beginning to set my mind on planning. And when you're like in the world by yourself as a grown up, you get to think about, what do I want for my life this year? Which is still a good question to ask at this point where I have a lot of other people that depend on me. But one of the things I'm going to try to do this year is to first go and ask the people who are depending on me. So like Kyler, president of Element 3, Rachel, the CEO of Share Your Genius, my husband, my kids, and ask the question, what do you most need of me this year? So that I am planning my own goals for myself in the context of what other people need from me. And that doesn't mean I'll say yes to all those things, but that to me is going to be I think a good hygiene practice, especially I'm just like really aware as my girls get older. Aubrey's in high school now. Asking her what she needs from me is a really important part of our relationship. So, she may say like, "I don't need anything from you, mom." Or it might be, "Mom, on the mornings I have early morning practice, I really want a hot breakfast." I don't know what she's going to say. But asking her gives me a chance to serve her well. Like my second one will probably say, "Mom, I really love it when you pack my lunch." Everybody in my house hates to pack lunches, but how do I create the capacity to give her I think that makes her feel like I've taken care of her when I pack her lunch and she doesn't have to do it herself when she comes home after a long day of school and then practice or a game and still has homework. I think for her, it's like one more thing she's trying to do. And she's trying to, like, she likes to eat really healthy. And so packing her lunch is part of managing that decision for herself. So I'm going to ask them, what do you need from me? And that is a new step for me in my goal planning. So I think that for you and your spouse, JR and I have started to get in the habit. Will be the second year, but we're going to go away together in November. And for us, that falls at a really good time of year because our teams a lot of time are in like deep planning mode. It's between seasons for our daughter who's in volleyball. So that November timeframe, a little before Thanksgiving, is a good season. And I really want us to hear one another well on what do we need from each other with what we see is coming up in our businesses, with the things that we personally want to get done, the places that we want to grow individually, where we see our family is going. So I don't know, as you're going into this season of planning, ask the people around you, what do you need from me for you to feel like I'm serving our relationship well, for you to feel like I'm serving my commitment well to you? I think when I think about planning, I'm like, what are my dreams? What are the new things I want to do? What do I want to add to my plate? And maybe that's the other question to ask myself is what will I remove? I've actually kind of been in a season of removal right now, pruning, thinning the herd on the number of different things I've said yes to, because I've realized whenever I say yes to like a new board or a new like mentoring relationship, it's a totally new group of people, a totally new place that I need to go instead of it being like inside already like the nucleus of places that I am. And that takes just more motion. And there was a season of my life where expand was very much the name of the game. I think it served my career really well. I think it served my personal growth really, really well. But right now, as if I'm like prime season of my kids needing me in a different way. And what I mean by that is like logistically, I have to like drive to a volleyball game that's 45 minutes away that starts at 5:15. Like it's bananas. That takes a lot of capacity in our family schedule. And I want to be able to be there for that stuff. And so I think it's kind of a season of pruning so that I can be really present in a way that I won't regret for my family right now. So just some thoughts on planning. I'd be curious to know what that process looks like for you. I'm asking myself those questions. Where do I need to prune? And what do the people and relationships that I'm in need from me in the coming year for me to do well by those relationships and commitments? So anyway, life is so fun. Last thing I would say I'm working on is just my talk track to other people. When people ask me how things are going, I want to be honest, like when things are hard. But also, I'm aware of the way that we talk about things becomes our reality. So I say, like, we are like super busy, but it's all with things we've chosen. It's amazing. We have the four like most amazing kids. Our life is filled with lots of opportunities to do really cool things. And the challenge is fitting it all together in a way that is sustainable. But life is great. Another way of saying that might come across even differently in my emotions is to be like, "Oh my word, like things are so busy. I feel like we're running all over the place. Like the girls are going in 1,000 different directions." Like that's the same story said with a very different energy behind it and coming from like a very different place. And I have found even the rehearsal of how do I really feel about my life? How I really feel about it is like, this is excellent. Is it perfect? No, but it's excellent. And the way I talk about it will inform the way I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it like overcomes reality, but I'm just really aware of that. It's like, this is a grand life. This is so fun. It has so much in it. There's 4 amazing kids who wanna live a great big life just like their dad and I, and, you know, it's imperfect, and we're doing our best, and we're having a great time. I don't know, last thing I'm thinking about, I just so appreciate you guys listening in on this journey. I am still working on this course for 2 career families. I will fit that into the margins as I talk to some of you just like in real life. I see there is a great, great need for this. And actually, in the next solo show, what I'll do is share some of the responses and data that came from the survey that we sent out asking for your feedback against it. That might be a great kind of just reveal and make you realize like you're not alone in this. I was talking to somebody and they said, we spent so much time listening to podcasts and reading books and all this stuff about having a baby. And then here we are, a 2 career family. There's just no guidebook for it. And there's not. And it's not for everybody. And it's not a perfect path. But remind yourself that nothing is perfect. No path is perfect. This is the one you've chosen. And it's our job to make it the best we possibly can every single day. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Scared Confident. Until next time, keep telling fear. You will not decide what happens in my life. I will. If you want to get the inside scoop, sign up for my newsletter. We decided to make content for you instead of social media algorithms. The link is waiting for you in show notes, or you can head over to tiffanysauter.com. Thanks for listening.